All right, today we're diving deep into a company that really caught our eye at the K-INNO Show 2025. We're talking about T&D Soft. This is a story of how they went from literally a one-man shop to a national cybersecurity powerhouse. It's pretty incredible.
So let's start at the very beginning with the founder, Choi Song-mook. Picture this. It's 2014. He's starting this company completely alone in a tiny office, but his ambitions, they were anything but small. He had these two, really audacious goals right from day one.
And check this out. In just 10 years, the company's revenue skyrockets by a staggering 4,300%. I mean, wow. That kind of explosive growth meant one of those big dreams. It became a very, very real building.
So the big question is, how on earth did they do it? This is a fantastic K-Tech underdog story. And believe me, the numbers only tell part of it.
I mean, just look at this chart. You can see the story right here. They went from about 700 million won in their first year to almost 30 billion won a decade later. That is not just simple growth, folks. That's a rocket ship. And it was all fueled by some serious grit and a really smart game plan.
And that journey from a tiny office to an industry leader was marked by these key moments. You've got the founding in 2014. Then, a few years later, they start getting major awards. Then, boom, 2023, they build their own headquarters. And now, in 2025, they've nabbed these top-level government certifications, which really solidifies their place at the top.
But behind all this amazing growth was the founder's personal mission. And like any good startup tale, it was full of massive hurdles, the kind that would make most people just give up.
And this quote from the CEO, man, it just says everything. The early days were a total grind. He says he had nothing but his body, and that he worked so hard he told people he was literally selling his body. That's the level of intensity we're talking about just to get this company off the ground.
So he was basically fighting a battle on three fronts. First, how do you deliver amazing service when you barely have any staff? Second, that classic startup headache, trying to hire the best people when you're still a small, unknown company. And third, as they started to grow, how do you make sure the whole team is pulling in the same direction? These were the big challenges he had to overcome.
Okay, so they had the drive. But how did they turn all that sheer willpower into a technological fortress? Let's get into the strategy behind their killer products.
See, their game plan was never just about selling one piece of software. Nope. They wanted to be the whole package, a total information security service company. So that means everything from consulting and R&D to actually integrating the systems and then managing them long-term. They literally cover all the bases.
And the core of all this tech is built around two main products. You've got T&D MIBs, which is like a shield for the company's internal network, keeping the bad guys out. And then there's T&D WSIS, which stands guard on the outside, watching over their public websites for any signs of hacking or malware. It's defense from the inside and the outside.
And get this, they call their MI-BIB system a cyber iron dome. It's such a perfect description, right? Because it doesn't just sit there and wait to get hit. It actively shoots down huge waves of malicious traffic before they can even get close to the network. It's all about proactive defense.
Okay, but having a great product is only half the battle. In cybersecurity, maybe more than any other field, trust is everything. It's the real currency. So how did T&D Soft go about earning that trust from the biggest players?
Well, first, it started with their people. They built a team where over 85% of the staff are technical experts. Think about that. This is a company just full of specialists, people who are absolute pros at security.
And that expertise wasn't just an internal thing. It got officially stamped with the government's highest approvals. We're talking about certifications for security consulting, for threat monitoring, and a security certificate from the National Intelligence Service. Let me tell you, getting all of those is a huge deal. It's basically the gold standard of trust in this business.
And the recognition just kept coming. They received multiple awards from different government ministries for their work in technology, for their impact as a startup, for their contribution to the software industry. Every single one of these is just another brick in that wall of credibility.
So what's really cool is that this whole journey, from a tiny startup to this trusted national company, was really just setting the stage for the next act. T&D Soft is now playing a part in K-Tech's growing role on the global stage.
They're not just staying domestic anymore.
they're exporting their expertise. A perfect example? They were hired to design and build the entire National Cyber Safety Center for the Kyrgyz Republic. I mean, think about that. That's not just selling a product. That's building a core piece of another country's national security infrastructure. And this really brings it all full circle, because it shows the power of the ecosystem here in South Korea. You have companies like T&D Soft, and their success is supported and boosted by organizations like the Ministry of SMEs and Startups. They're helping create these K-Tech champions and giving them the support they need to go global.
So it leaves us with this really interesting question to think about, right? As digital borders basically disappear, how are founder-led companies like T&D Soft going to shape the future of cyber sovereignty? The security of entire nations could very well depend on the vision of founders just like this one. It's a pretty big thought.